What's going on, guys? Sam Adams here, and welcome to On the Topic Of, which is a series I do right here on my channel, which you should subscribe to if you aren't already, every single Friday, where I pretty much break down a piece of news that has been in the video game news spotlight over the past week or so that I feel is pretty significant, and I just kind of let you guys know what's going on, give my opinion and whatnot. It's always a good time. And this week we are talking about Nintendo's new piece of hardware that they announced that's going to be released on November the 11th of this year. This is not the NX, this is not some kind of futuristic contraption that the engineers have been coming up with. This is simply a Nintendo Entertainment System that is slightly limited but slightly better, and we'll kind of break all of that down. But I also have a hint that this is not the last kind of system that we're going to be seeing Nintendo put out of this nature. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into it. So what exactly is this thing? It's pretty much a plug-and-play that you would find at your standard Target or Walmart that has classic Nintendo Entertainment System games loaded onto it, and it costs $59.99, which I feel is a pretty fair price, considering you are getting 30 games out of the deal, which include titles like Legend of Zelda, Pac-Man, Punch-Out, the first 3 Super Mario Bros., including the original Mario Brothers, Tecmo Bowl, Metroid, Mega Man 2. There are tons of games, including 30 of Nintendo's classic hits, which I feel is a pretty good number, considering you're paying $60 for the full games. So it's got a USB power supply with it, which means it's pretty much got the same setup as any kind of phone or tablet. It just has a USB cord that runs to a power brick that then plugs into a wall, which everyone should have. You know, if you can't find the one that comes with the box, in certain regions of the world, in certain areas, it doesn't come with the power brick portion, just the USB cord, but we all have these things laying around. If you're watching this, more than likely you have some kind of power brick that you use to plug in an iPod, an iPad, an iPhone, an Android phone.
3 hours later.
Can you move it along? I'm all out of time cards.
Any kind of tablet, anything, you probably have one. But what's more significant is that this thing has full HDMI support with 1080p output, meaning that you can plug it into any kind of modern television, which is something that a lot of people that have NESs have been running into, they've been running into issues lately, because slowly but surely TVs have begun discontinuing support for component cables. And for those of us that are like me that stream on Twitch and have YouTube channels and whatnot, I primarily work off of monitors. I do have this large television right here, but these 2 screens that I have sitting in front of me right here have no component support, so I couldn't play a classic NES game on either of these screens. And for someone that primarily is a cord cutter, you know, where you don't have any kind of cable and you just run off of Netflix and stuff, it's very likely that you might just have a monitor. So to have that HDMI support is something that is a requirement, and something that I feel is a great move on Nintendo's part. Now, what does kind of suck is that you can't add more games, and Nintendo can't add more games. It has no Wi-Fi support, it has no SD card slot. Pretty much these 30 games that you have loaded on there are the ones that you are going to be playing. There is no way to get more on there. I wish that they would have added some kind of cartridge compatibility so that you could go to your local gaming shop, buy older NES games, and play them. I feel like that was just kind of a hit and miss, but I guess maybe that would have cost too much, maybe that would have created some kind of a different kind of market. I don't know the reasoning behind that, but unfortunately we are stuck with the 30 games. However, those 30 games are great games. I'm not going to lie, I'm pretty impressed with the lineup. Now, on top of this, you have the NES Classic controller, which is going to run $9.99, and it's by all means a Nintendo Entertainment System controller that you can use on not only the new NES Classic Edition, but also the Wii and the Wii U. And it works with every Virtual Console game, meaning that if you wanted to get that classic gaming experience while you're playing Super Mario Bros. 2 on your Wii that you bought back in, you know, like 2007, 2008, you can totally do that. And $10 is the perfect price point for this, because if it was 20, it'd be like, is it really worth it? If it was 30, it'd be way too much. But $10 is right in that price point that a lot of people are going to go out and buy this just to play games on the Virtual Console, so I guarantee that's going to make a profit. Now, I do have a hint that this is not going to be the last piece of hardware of this nature that we are going to be getting from Nintendo, because over here in the States it's called the NES Classic Edition. It's pretty straightforward. You don't really have to have any kind of expectation of a different kind of piece of hardware. You know, it's just pretty much cut and dry release. That being said, in Europe it's called the Nintendo Classic Mini Nintendo Entertainment System, which gives the implication that we might be getting a Nintendo Classic Mini Super Nintendo Entertainment System, perhaps a Nintendo Classic Mini Nintendo 64. Imagine having a huge flat screen in your living room, and someone comes over and sees that you have 3 different versions of classic consoles, miniature size, that have 30 of the best and most iconic games from that generation of Nintendo ready to play, ready to go. That sounds incredible, and that's something that Nintendo could make a ton of profit on and keep gamers like me that really do admire retro games extremely happy. And it also brings these games to a new generation of gamers who might not necessarily have the funding. They might be in high school, they might be in middle school, but they see this thing that says 30 plus games for $60 and they're like, yes, I need that in my life. That's incredible. So now I know that I'm going to be buying at least one. My mom said she's probably going to buy one because she was playing these games as a kid, so it's no mystery that if my mother is buying one, these things are probably going to sell like hotcakes. And that's going to confirm to Nintendo that people still love their retro titles. So if they take that, acknowledgement that the retro titles, the games that they released back in the day, are where their company really shines, and combines that with the mobile experiments that they've seen with Pokémon GO, which has been so successful over the course of the past week, they might be able to carve out a unique niche for themselves aside from Sony, aside from Xbox, aside from all these different companies that are putting out products. You could actually make a nice little Nintendo niche where they really push their retro titles and they really push their mobile experiments, while Sony and Microsoft are dealing with the AAA titles like Call of Duty, Battlefield, and Madden, because you really need to play your strengths here. That's what the key is. Nintendo needs to play their strengths, and I feel like they're doing that quite well, especially if they do what I think they're going to do and release a whole bunch of these little Nintendo classics. That would be great. So there you guys have it. Hope you've enjoyed this video. If you did, drop me a like down below and let me know if you're going to be picking up one of these NES Classic Editions or the Nintendo Classic Mini NES, depending on what part of the world you live in. Are you interested in it? Would you like to see more of these things, or was it just pretty much a glorified plug and play? Let me know in the comment section down below. And if you happen to be new to the channel, please head over there and check out some of my other content, because I do upload new stuff like 3 or 4 days a week depending on the week. So there's always something new right here on the channel when you drop by to watch some videos. And as always, I want to thank each and every one of you guys for watching this particular video. I'll talk to you soon. Peace.